Good Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it over the hump, and we're in the home stretch toward the weekend. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Thursday. We have the truth of the day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's entertainment spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with Dr. Ian Smith, getting us ready for this year's cold and flu season. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Thursday headlines. In national news, FDA okays mixing COVID vaccines, backs Moderna and J&J boosters. U.S. regulators on Wednesday signed off on extended COVID-19 boosters to Americans who got the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine and said anyone eligible for an extra dose can get a brand different from the one they received initially. The Food and Drug Administration's decision marked a big step toward expanding the U.S. booster campaign, which began with extra doses of the Pfizer vaccine last month. But before more people roll up their sleeves, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention will consult an expert panel today before finalizing official recommendations for who should get boosters and when. The latest moves would expand by tens of millions the number of Americans eligible for boosters and formally allow mixing and matching of shots, making it simpler to get another dose, especially for people who had a side effect from one brand but still wanted the proven protection of the vaccination. The FDA authorized a third Moderna shot for seniors and others at high risk from COVID-19 because of their health problems, jobs, or living conditions 6 months after their last shot. One big change, Moderna's booster will be half the dose that's used for the first two shots, based on company data showing that was plenty to rev up immunity again. For J&J's single-shot vaccine, the FDA said all U.S. recipients, no matter their age, could get a second dose at least 2 months following their initial vaccination. The FDA rulings differ because the vaccines are made differently with different dosing schedules, and the J&J vaccine has consistently shown a lower level of effectiveness than either of the two-shot Moderna or Pfizer vaccines. In more national news, Biden touts middle-class values of his $2 trillion spending plan. President Joe Biden traveled to his hometown Wednesday to highlight the middle-class values of his $2 trillion domestic spending package, now scaled back from still an unprecedented attempt to expand social services for millions and tackle the rising threat of climate change. The president was upbeat that agreement among Democrats on the package was within reach in the days ahead. "I think we'll get a deal," Biden said as he left on Wednesday. The president talked about his own experiences growing up in Scranton, influenced by his values, and his belief that the economy must work for working people like those there. Those values are represented in his domestic agenda, not only through proposed investments in roads and bridges, but also in social services like child care to help more women go back to work, the White House said. "It's where my values of hard work and treating others with dignity were set," the president tweeted about Scranton. "Those values are the core of my agenda." Biden and his Democratic Party are raising the seal agreement on the legislative package after laboring for months to bridge his once sweeping $3.5 trillion vision preferred by progressives with a more limited focus that could win over party centrists. He has no Democratic votes to spare for passage in the closely divided Congress, and leaders want agreement by this week. In the mix, at least $500 billion to confront climate change, $350 billion for child care subsidies and free pre-kindergarten, a new federal program for at least 4 weeks of paid family leave, a year extension of the $300 monthly child tax credit put in place during the COVID-19 crisis, and funding for health care provided through the Affordable Care Act and Medicare. In more national news, Nicholas Cruz pleads guilty to 2018 Parkland school massacre. Nicholas Cruz pleaded guilty Wednesday to murdering 17 people during a rampage at his former high school in Parkland, Florida, leaving a jury to decide whether he will be executed for one of the nation's deadliest school shootings. Relatives of the victims, who sat in the courtroom and watched the hearing via Zoom, broke down in tears and held hands across families as Cruz entered his pleas and later apologized for his crimes. The guilty pleas will set the stage for a penalty trial in which 12 jurors will determine whether Cruz, 23, should be sentenced to death or life in prison without parole. Given the case's notoriety, the circuit judge plans to screen thousands of prospective jurors. Jury selection is scheduled to begin on January 4th of next year. In business news, Fed survey finds economy facing supply chain and other drags. The Federal Reserve reports that the economy faced a number of headwinds at the start of this month, ranging from supply chain disruptions and labor shortages to uncertainty about the Delta variant of COVID. And finally, in entertainment news, Netflix posts higher third quarter earnings, solid subscriber growth. Netflix posted sharply higher third quarter earnings on this week. Thanks to stronger slate of titles, the company has ramped up production, rebounding from pandemic-induced delays in the first half of the year. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Say yes to you. Recognizing the importance of time for yourself is far easier than finding time for taking care of yourself. Every one of you has a well of energy inside that must be regularly replenished. When you act as if you have a bottomless pit of energy, doing errand after errand, scheduling activities for every minute of the day, you become exhausted, weak, and open yourself up to a variety of illnesses. Saying yes to you may mean you have to say no to someone else. It is one of the best things you can do for you and your family. You cannot take care of anyone else unless you take care of yourself first. Some people may say this is selfish. This is the polar opposite of selfishness. You can excel in your outer world only if your own needs are met first. Today, recognize the importance of you time and say yes to you as you go about and enjoy the day.
Dr. Ian Smith is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Dr. Ian Smith joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk to us about what we need to know going into this cold and flu season. Here's a bit of our conversation.
Really interesting times that we're in right now, so I want to ask you, what should we then be expecting when it comes to this year's cold and flu season, especially with us still dealing with the pandemic?
Sure. Well, last year was a very mild season for the cold and flu, largely because of all the things that we were doing to prevent COVID. So washing our hands frequently, being socially distanced, wearing masks, all those things are not just good to prevent COVID, but they're extremely critical to prevent other viruses from being transmitted, like the common cold and flu, and that's why the cases were so low. This year, we're not sure yet. We hope for a repeat of having low numbers, but, as you know, restrictions across the country are loosening up in an uneven fashion, so we don't know what that's going to hold. But, we encourage people, continue, please, be safe. Wear your mask, particularly in crowded places and indoors, because indoors is where the transmission is much easier in a confined space. And also, washing your hands, sanitizing your hands, and public services, that's also important. So we want people to do those things, and if they do them, hopefully we'll have another mild season.
Yeah, that would be nice to hear. Well, one of the things that a lot of people have been doing because they've been trying to kind of stay close to home, Dr. Ian, is using more over-the-counter remedies when it comes to different things. How can those help them this year when it comes to not only cold and flu, but also chest congestion?
Well, people have to understand that there's no cure for the common cold or flu or any of the coronaviruses for that matter, but over-the-counter medications can help with the symptoms. And I say to people all the time, you should have something in your medicine cabinet ahead of time and not wait until last minute when you really need it and you have to run out to the store to get it. I like the Mucinex 12-hour products. They have this line that include Mucinex DM, which is very good at thinning and loosening the mucus and also can control your cough, wet and dry cough for up to 12 hours. Then there's also Mucinex extended release tablets. Those are also great at thinning and loosening the mucus that can relieve chest congestion.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll have you guys on tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.